Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's Monday after Thanksgiving, but not just because after Thanksgiving are we getting together, because it's Monday. It's Monday Night Raw. I'm Jack Farmer. He's Raj Giri. And guess what? Special guest, Jimmy Korderas, the guy, head referee in charge here at Wrestling Inc. Jimmy, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I mean, I'm happy to join you guys. This is awesome.
This is a fun one for you to be a part of. I'm glad you're here. Raj, as always, I'm glad you're here. Fellas, did you have a good Thanksgiving?
Oh, I'll start with Raj because up here in Canada, we had Thanksgiving in October. It's really weird up here, and it's on a Monday.
Yeah.
So we had ours. We just kind of, I do it Greek style when it's U.S. Thanksgiving. We, being of Greek descent, I have lamb.
Greek food
nice,
good too. Yeah.
That sounds
I didn't
tasty.
get on the Greek food train until a few years ago, and I was like, "This is good stuff." I should have been eating this my whole life. Raj, what did you do? Did you just dinner with the fam?
And I was in New York all week, and so we went upstate for Thanksgiving, visited some family up there, and yeah, it was a week in New York with my family. Got to see Issa again, and some of the other wrestling media, Andrew Zarian, Destiny FOMO. I actually thought Jimmy was there, so I was like, I think he was really confused because what the stuff he was sending me, I thought he was there. So I was like, "Hey, are you gonna meet us at McMahon's?" And he was really confused. And McMahon's is this bar outside of Barclays. So
I was about to say, you were in New York and you were at McMahon's place. How did you not tell me?
Yeah, no, it's funny because I thought, what are we hanging out by the pool at Vince's place, or what's going on?
Jimmy, for the record, Raj has never invited me to one of his cool wrestling pundit hangouts. So one of these days, I'll get the invite.
Yeah,
you weren't in New York.
Know what? No, it'd be cool if we could all just show up and bust in on Raj one day.
Yeah.
one of these WrestleManias, we should do it.
There you go.
At Vince's place, at McMahon's.
Vince's place.
Yeah.
That's the real McMahon's.
Well,
that's a place. VKM's.
Yeah, is it really?
I don't know. It could be.
Oh,
well,
that'd be cool.
As everyone's settling in and finding their seats in the chat, thanks to everyone, by the way, for being here. Brian, Joseph, Peter, Michael, everyone, thanks for being here. I want to chat real quick about some ratings stuff. You know, we love talking about our ratings here on Wrestling Inc. I want to talk about the Dynamite ratings on American Thanksgiving Eve. Last Wednesday's live Dynamite did 898,000 viewers on TNT, down just under 9% from the previous week for the post Full Gear episode. And the demo was a 0.31, which was down just over 16% down. But I got to think that the day before Thanksgiving, this has to be a big win, right, Raj?
I mean, it's the best number they've done on Thanksgiving Eve. But, you know, the previous 2 years, they did have competition from NXT. Their numbers have been up in general, even before CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, once NXT moved to Tuesdays. So still, it's, you know, you can almost throw this week out. They'll be up next week. They were down this week. It happens every year. SmackDown will be down as well when that number comes in. It's the holiday weekend. And, but yeah, I mean, for what they've been usually do on Thanksgiving, it's a pretty good number, but it's not indicative of they're going to be up again next week.
Yeah. Now, Jimmy, you've watched the viewers from inside the ring, but now that you're outside of the ring, do you pay attention to the ratings? Do you kind of follow the numbers, or do you not really care about what the numbers are doing?
I do follow the numbers, but for me, it's not as important as it is to some fans. I want all the companies to do well in the ratings, because when wrestling as a whole does better, then, you know, it helps the entire business, and I want the entire business to do well. And contrary to popular opinion out there on social media, I do want not the guys that I used to work for. I want the other guys to do well as well, because I have friends there. I have friends at Impact. I want them to succeed, and I want the business as a whole to grow, because I love the business, not just one company.
Right.
So Jimmy, you were with WWE for a long time. From the late 80s to 2009, correct?
Yes.
So during the Monday Night Wars, was everyone really paying attention backstage to the ratings then, or was it still kind of the we got to do our stuff and move on.
It was, I hate to sound wishy-washy, but it was a little column A, a little column B. You know, the front office telling you, hey guys, don't worry about the ratings. Go out there and do your thing and knock it out of the park and do your, the raw stuff. But at the same time, in the truck they're watching, in the back, there's somebody. I remember one instance, I want to say we were in St. Louis and it was a Monday night and we were in the trainer's room and the trainer had a TV, had two TVs in the trainer's room. So one was on Raw and the other one was on Nitro. So we're, kind of paying attention to Nitro and seeing what's going on. And this was the time when Raw went on live at 9 and Nitro got that extra hour at the beginning at 8. Mm-hmm. So we're watching. All of a sudden we hear this familiar voice walk by, going, turn that off, and obviously, we know the voice. It was Vince. So everybody's like ducking for cover. And as he's walking away, you can hear him going, like he popping himself, so to speak. So, but to answer your question, yes, they did pay attention to what was going on. They did pay attention to the ratings, but at the same time, they didn't want to let on to us that it was a concern to them. They tried to make it like, hey, just go out there and do your best, guys.
Right.
Well,
speaking about going out there, Nia Jax, she gave us a little bit of an update on what's going on with her. She updated her name, and that led to a lot of speculation, but she answered speculation with a tweet saying, LOL newsflash, Lena is my real name. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Is it Lena? Lena is my real name. It's not another ring name. It's just my name. The name given to me at birth, calm TF. Down, trolls. In all fairness, opponent Crippler would be a solid front runner if I ever decide to wrestle again, but it's highly unlikely. If Nia Jax doesn't step back into the ring, then her final ever match was against Shayna Baszler on the September 20th episode of Raw. During her career, she was able to hold the Raw Women's Championship and the Women's Tag Team titles with Baszler. Kind of a sad thing to hear. It sounds like this might be the end for Nia Jax. Raj, do you think that this is her just sort of playing hard to get by saying highly unlikely, or do we think we've actually seen the end of Nia Jax's in-ring run?
Yeah, it's so hard to tell because you hear so many wrestlers in the past saying they're done or they don't think they're coming back or this might be it. And Nia, she was one of the top female stars and she was having a good run there. So I think she'll be back.
Yeah. Jimmy, how about you? When you see wrestlers tweeting things, do you take it always with a grain of salt? Do you kind of take it as, hey, this is what it is? Or do you always think that they're just trying to kind of play some angle whenever you see someone tweet something?
A lot of times, because you're trained to think this way, especially someone like me, you're thinking they are trying to gain some attention. They're trying to work their audience. They're trying to work their following, so to speak. And the one thing that I have learned over the years in this business is never say never. Because once and I can attest to this, once it gets in your blood, this business gets in your blood, it stays. It never leaves, despite being a superstar like, let's say, The Rock and going off and doing movies and being successful in whatever endeavor. At the end of the day, for some reason, something always draws you back. I mean, we have rumors. They planted seeds a couple of weeks ago about The Rock possibly coming back to do something with Roman. It doesn't leave you. And as much as you want to move on, sometimes you just can't get it out of your system. And I don't want to say that she's working everybody or she's trying to draw them up attention, but maybe she feels this way right now. But trust me, somewhere down the road it's going to hit her and she goes, I got to get back in that ring.
Yeah. Also, and then, Rocky in the chat, OMG. This is the amazing ref Korderas is here on WINC podcast.
Thank you, Rocky.
Jim Ross gave an update as well to what he's going through. He took to Twitter this morning to provide an update on the treatment for his skin cancer. JR revealed that his first radiation treatment has been completed and he now has 21 treatments left, saying radiation treatment number 1 in the book, 21 treatments remaining. And then he posted the cowboy hat face emoji. He recently announced that he'll be taking time away from AEW until the end of December to do the treatments. I think it's great. He's getting treatments. Hopefully they go well. Cancer is a terrifying thing. any kind of, obviously our well wishes go out to JR through all this, but any comments on this? Seems like so far so good in the treatments.
Yeah, you know what, and again, for me, from a personal standpoint, JR is one of my favorite people that I got to call boss, because when he was head of talent relations there in WWE, he was, really my boss, and man, and he was a joy to work for and work with, and to this day still, keep in touch with him, and I'm wishing him well. Obviously, for those who believe, if prayers help, we're all thinking positively for JR, and he's one tough son of a gun. Don't let him fool you.
Mm-hmm.
He's one tough sucker, and if anybody's going to get through this, JR can fight his way through this. And we're thinking of you, JR.
Absolutely, our thoughts are with JR. It's tough, and he wanted to fight through it, and still do Dynamite, and that just shows you how much of a badass he is. But I'm glad he's taking some time off, fighting this, and I'm confident that we'll see him back on that commentator's desk soon enough.
Yeah. In the chat, Mike says, wanted to get Jimmy's thoughts on the great run Bobby Lashley has been on alongside MVP, and how were they to work with back in the day on SmackDown?
Oh, gee. I love where they're going right now. I love the combination of MVP and Bobby Lashley. Seeing Bobby from from an early stage and developing, you saw the potential there. And like some talents, it's almost like he had to go away for a little while and mature elsewhere to gain some different kind of knowledge and bring it back and utilize it on his comeback. And he's doing it wonderfully. As far as MVP, again, very biased here because he's a good friend. I always got along, for some reason, him and I gelled, and to me, he's one of my favorite talents, not only to be friends with, but to work with and to watch perform, because he's so good at everything he does, whether it's on the stick, in the ring. He's awesome. And pairing them together works.
Jimmy, I want to ask you a question. I want you to confirm a rumor for me, and maybe this is breaking news, but is it true that Bobby Lashley is a vampire who doesn't age?
He must be, because he looks the exact same from when he came in. And I'm like, what is your secret? I wanted, I remember the last time I ran into him when they were up here in Toronto. And I was like, what are you doing? He says, I can't tell you. He says, if I tell you, I got to kill you. And
I wouldn't.
I'll stick to the Just for Men, and you do what you do.
I swear, I feel like you could put a picture of him next to a picture of him from 10 years ago, and I wouldn't be able to tell the difference of which one's which. It's insane.
Yeah, we're getting tons of questions in the chat for you, Jimmy, but we'll be here all night, so we'll throw some of them in here and there. But
it's a. So, by the way, speaking of the questions, again, I want to thank everyone for being here in the live chat. If you're listening on the podcast as well later on, thank you for that. Please do us a favor, hit like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. 5-star review, leave a little comment in your 5-star review as well. That's always fun to look at. And if you do have a question for Jimmy, by the way, make sure if you hit us up with one of those super chats, that's a great way to make sure that of all the other questions, yours gets asked. So hit us up with one of those, and we'll make sure to ask the question. I want to also talk to you guys a little bit before we dive into the show here. I don't know. Again, we talk about what Bobby Lashley's using. I don't know what it is, but I do want to talk about something that's pretty cool called Hone. Hone is a comprehensive hormone optimization clinic that helps men get back their energy, focus, libido, and muscle mass by addressing low testosterone. Hone offers at-home biomarker testing, in-depth physician video consultations, and FDA-approved medication delivered straight to your door. Since it launched in 2020, Hone has helped thousands of men. No energy to make it through the day, having a hard time putting on muscle. Your libido is not what it used to be. Your hormones could be to blame. I certainly know it's not my diet. It must be the hormones. Did you know that testosterone levels have decreased substantially over generations? Our father's generation had testosterone levels that were 25% higher than ours today. The thing is, this is not our fault. There are many factors such as environmental changes that are affecting our generation. Today, 30 million men in the U.S. have low testosterone that is affecting their daily lives. Hone Health can help. Testosterone is more than just a sex hormone. It affects energy levels, muscle mass, focus, and overall mood. Hone helps men get testing and treatment for low testosterone from the comfort of home. Easy to process. Collect a sample and mail it to the lab. Once results are ready, you have a video chat with the real doctor. The doctor will recommend a personalized treatment plan based on your biomarkers and symptoms. Treatments include FDA-approved medication delivered straight to your door. Although I am not a medical expert, Hone Health is, and they'll be there with you every step of the way. Order Hone's easy-to-use at-home assessment test today to learn your testosterone levels. For a limited time only, listeners get the at-home testing and doctor consultation for only $45. Go to honehealth.com/INC to take advantage now. That's Hone, HONE health.com/INC to get the home testing and doctor consultation for $45. Fellas, I am shocked that you get all of this plus the video consultation for only $45. That's a great deal and something I think everyone should check out.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I mean, I know a lot of guys once they turn 40, they just start getting tired, don't have the same amount of energy. And a good buddy of mine, we used to, we would golf together all the time. And then all of a sudden he just stopped going. He just never wanted to go. And he was always just saying, I'm not up to it today. And, it was just, it's just one of those things. And then he went and he got the treatment and then now we're back to playing all the time. So, it's good to, if you feel down, if you're, if your energy levels are down, if you're not sure what it is, it's good to get it checked out. And this is, such an amazing deal to do it. So definitely recommend doing that.
And what I think is great too, is that for $45, like I said, you get the consultation. So it's not just going to be them, sending you stuff and then you trying to mess around and hope you get it right. They're going to look at all your biomarkers. They're going to figure it all out for you. It's very cool to try out. I recommend anyone who's curious about it, give it a try. It's $45. Treat yourself. Yeah. It's the holiday.
Yeah, especially someone like myself, and I'll go out on a limb here and think that I'm the probably the oldest guy in the room right now, and sometimes I feel run down, and maybe something like this would be beneficial. And like you said, I hate to use cliches, but the price is absolutely right. $45 really is a drop in the bucket for what you're getting in this.
Yeah. Especially
the consultation with the doctor alone.
Yeah.
Jimmy, if you are older than me, this would be one of the few times that there's someone older than me. Thanks the first.
I'm not giving it away just yet. I'm kayfabe, brother. Kayfabe.
So let's talk about this episode of Raw here. Let's get into it. This is what everyone's waiting for. We start off with Rollins coming out to the ring, and he's challenging Big E at day one. And I don't know about you guys, I am loving Seth Rollins right now, but Balor comes out. They brawl on the outside. Seth Rollins took some shots from the steel chairs, but still wanted to have the match. It was a competitive one, but as Corey Graves says, a Greco-Roman eye poke from Rollins allowed Rollins to get the win over Balor. Jimmy, let's start with you here. I'm loving Seth Rollins right now. I'm loving what he's doing. I love the role he's on. How do you feel about Seth Rollins right now and what he's doing?
I'm enjoying it because you know what? To me, it looks like he is in his zone and he's in a comfort level and he's enjoying what he's doing. And it's resonating with me and it's resonating with the audience because you see he's generating heat, which is what a heel is supposed to do. Yes, I'm a little bit old school. I like having a bad guy that people hate and a good guy that people like. You know what I mean? The babyface gets cheered, the heel, the tweeners. If you're Stone Cold, it works, but those are few and far between. But I like where Seth Rollins is going. My only little critique, I love the fact that they got to the match quickly as opposed to having a long promo segment like they normally start off Raw. On the finish, yes, I got it with the Greco-Roman knuckle lock and thumb lock or to the eye. I just wish there was something else added to that as well, as opposed to just the thumb in the eye and the curb stomp. Do you know what I mean? Maybe a quick jab to the throat as well, out of view of the referee. And that's the one thing I did like, that it was done not in plain view of the referee. Everything's done so blatantly lately. I just like the fact that he worked like a heel. He cheated to win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jimmy, I agree with you 100% in the sense that I love my good promos. I love good non-wrestling segments. I don't want a 3-hour show to just be match. You know, I want my entertainment in there, but I do like them mixing it up and not having a long promo segment to open the show every week, you know.
Mhm.
And I like that Seth Rollins, he came out, he gave you the gist. He told you he's, you know, the title match at day one. I like that they're promoting day one at least like over 4 weeks in advance this time, whereas Survivor Series, we didn't know any of the matches until, you know, 2 weeks in. 2 weeks before. So I like that they did that. I like that this match wasn't very long because sometimes between the opening segment and the first match on Raw, you're almost like 50 minutes in by the time it's done. And I thought it moved fast. The action was quick. I thought it was great. And I thought this was one of the better opening segments on Raw in a long time.
Raj, I have a follow-up question for you. Is Finn Balor still a threat as far as like being someone who can get wins and do big things? At least in the short term, I should say.
I think he's kind of one of those guys who's at that level where, you know, he's not going to win the world title, but he's always kind of that gatekeeper level where, you know, it means something to beat him. You know, it's you don't have a nobody beat him. And so, and he's someone that you can always, like an AJ Styles, you can always prop him up in those world title matches because he does have that credibility, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I always say he's a super rock star. It just seems like he's been racking up some L's lately pretty quickly over the past few weeks. Let's move on. I want to talk about, we had 2 segments back to back here. One was pretty quick, and it was Vince McMahon is a believer in Austin Theory and wants him to sit next to Vince all night long. And I want to talk about that a little bit, but also we had a contract signing. Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan, middle of the ring, title match next week. Becky takes some shots at the Islanders. Liv tells her to shut up. Becky says she booked a 5-on-5 for later tonight. Jimmy, I want to start with you. This Austin Theory, you know, I don't like to use wrestling terms because I'm not a wrestler, but you talk about getting the rub. Is there a bigger giving the rub to a guy than sitting next to Vince McMahon himself all episode when Vince is like never on TV anymore?
That's the thing. When was the last time we saw Vince McMahon other than the pay-per-view? Survivor Series where he saw him come back with the $100 million Cleopatra egg. Yes. But for him to be associated with Austin Theory, obviously the big man sees something in this young man. So this is a huge opportunity for Austin Theory to get a huge rub off of Vince McMahon. And there's no other way to put it other than, if Vince is on your side, chances are you're going to get a huge opportunity to shine.
Yeah, I think so. I think Austin Theory is going to be the guy. I want to kind of pivot though to the Becky Lynch Liv Morgan contract signing. Raj, how did you feel this one went? It kind of felt like they went in knowing they needed to hit like 3 bullet points, and they sort of just went one thing to the next. Am I being cynical here, or do you feel like this flowed? How did you like the contract signing?
You know, for the most part, I liked it. The fact that Becky didn't bury Liv this time. I thought there was a weird line in there where Liv said Becky's big contract is why my friends don't work here anymore. And it's one of those things that I think if, first of all, I just would not mention the releases during a promo. And second of all, if someone is not an internet fan and doesn't know that WWE makes as much money as it does, I'm sure they do. But for the people that don't and they hear that line, they're like, wow, they have that, you know, they're so worried financially that they have to cut people, you know, just to keep these big contracts. So I think it kind of makes them look bad in a way.
Yeah, I saw between SmackDown and Raw, I believe there was 3 references to people being let go. And I'm kind of with you, Raj. I feel like it's a little, I don't know. You should maybe don't make a zinger out of someone's real life loss of employment, but overall we get the 5-on-5 match. We get the contract signing. It's next week. And you're right. Liv was kind of a punching bag the last few. Well, I guess she got the punch in on Becky last time, but you know what I mean? It feels like Liv has kind of taken the verbal abuse the past few weeks. So it was nice to hear her get a shot in. Jimmy, do you have any comments on the contract signing? Anything you didn't like here?
No, I thought it was all right. I mean, like but nothing really jumped out. And that's, you know, you talk about moments, and I didn't get that huge moment from this contract signing. The one thing I did like was, even though some people might say it was a little cheap way to go, when Becky took the shots at the Islanders being in the home arena of the New York Islanders, and it got some heat. At least it finally got some heat, because you could see that the fans want to like Becky.
Yes.
They're not on board yet with her as a heel. So at least she got some heat in that sense.
One other thing I did not like in this segment was, I don't like when they have everything already. Like when Becky says, "Oh, and by the way, I booked a match earlier tonight, and here it is. And do you accept the challenge?" And they already had the graphic up on the on the wall. And
right,
it's like, make it more organic. Just be like, "Becky, I want you tonight." Sonya says, "Well, look, if you want her tonight, maybe we'll set up a match if Liv accepts, and if Liv accepts later in the show, then you announce the 5-on-5 match." And it just feels more organic than when you're tossing to the screen.
You know what I hate about this segment? And they have it in a lot of these contract signings, and I don't know why it drives me nuts. I hate those tables with it's like the silvery top with like the circular. I don't know why. Why do they always use that table? There's better looking tables out there. I don't know why that would drive me nuts. But after this, we have a quick segment with Matt Riddle and Randy Orton, and he puts a wig on him, which is funny. And it actually reminds me of this product called Manscaped. It's the holiday season, and that means there are stockings to be stuffed and elves to be cuffed. Well, today's sponsor, Manscaped, has gone global with the tools to guarantee you will score under the tree and the mistletoe. Manscaped is the leader in men's below-the-waist grooming, and they have served more than 4 million men worldwide. Get 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com with code WINC20. Ho, 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 gents. Naughty or nice, 'tis the season to trim. Manscaped's best-selling product is the Performance Package 4.0, which is the top of every man's wish list this year. Inside, you'll find their lawnmower body trimmer, their best trimmer on the market for your body, and the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer. Let's not forget the famous liquid formulations, the Crop Preserver and Crop Reviver, to maximize your body hygiene routine. Get the Performance Package now to receive their 2 free gifts, the Manscaped Boxers and Shed Travel Bag. The dads can't stop talking about this. The teens secretly buy this, and the women will love you for it. Now, these are the 5 Manscaped Surefire Win stocking stuffers: the Manscaped Signature Cologne, the Shears 2.0 Luxury 4-piece Nail Kit, the Crop Mops Body Wipes, Crop Reviver, Groin Toner and Refreshener. Groin Toner, interesting. Small enough to fit in a stocking, big enough to change a man's life. These formulations are all vegan, cruelty-free, dye-free, sulfate-free, and paraben-free. So you know their products are legit. Make sure you hurry to the site to ensure these wild gifts show up before the holiday season. And while you're at it, get 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com with code WINC20. Whether this is for your partner, your dad, your brother, your friend, get them something they will actually use, and it's almost sure to get a laugh. Get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with code WINC20. Groom like Santa's watching with Manscaped. Beyond all that, I also am a fan. I've got the shampoo and conditioner.
And conditioner. I've been using that.
Yeah, this is no joke. I also got the body wash as well. So it also feel really cool. It comes in, it's like metal. So,
you know what else I got on?
You got the Manscaped shirt?
The lip balm.
The lip balm. Oh, yes. The lip balm's good too.
The lip balm. And, I was traveling to New York last week. Before, when I travel, all my stuff would be all over my vanity bag, hard to find. This Manscaped travel bag is amazing. I use it all the time now. There's all these, a lot of the products. You're like, oh, I'd never use that. Try it one time, just doing everything. And I'm telling you, you just feel amazing.
Yeah.
That's incredible. You know what? To be honest with you, I haven't tried the product, but I want to find this in my stocking this year really bad. And as I mentioned earlier, being of Greek descent, I suffer from the Greek curse, where other than here, I grow hair everywhere else. So this would be a perfect product for me.
Yes, it actually is. Everything they have is great. Like the shirt is so comfortable. The boxers are great. I really do recommend checking it out, you guys. And 20% off and free shipping. Come on.
I'm taking notes, and I'm making sure my wife
Yes, WINC20 promo code. We got a chat here from BS. Raj, could you do us a favor at the site and tell the moderators to stop banning all the regulars? They are abusing their power all because they disagree with what is said. It's become childish.
I have never, a lot of times when people come on and say they were banned for some reason, I look into it. It's never been because it's a disagreement. You look at any comments on the ratings, there'll be like thousands of comments on those sometimes. And you got a lot of people both ways. So usually it's something else, but, always reach out, contact the support. There are times where people aren't banned and it's just a cookie setting and things like that, or something we discuss. So, just contact support and they'll look into it.
Yeah, always good to just reach out to support. And sometimes if it is just a mistake, it's just a mistake.
Yeah.
But something that wasn't a mistake was Randy Orton closing his eyes while Matt Riddle put that beautiful blonde wig on top of his noggin. So they continue their friendship, RK Bro, but Orton did say they need to be more vicious than before to keep their titles as they get into a matchup with the Dirty Dogs. Dirty Dogs almost get it, but RKO and the champs retain. Jimmy, how do you like RK Bro? I'm just gonna tease. I love these guys. They crack me up every time. I think Matt Riddle's a superstar. Of course, Randy Orton's a superstar. That's nothing new. But I love this group. How do you feel about this group?
Full disclosure, from at the beginning, I wasn't on board. I'm going, okay, I'm going to give it a chance and see how this works out. Now I am fully on board with rated RK Bro or whatever the name is. I love it. I think these guys mesh well together, and you can tell that they enjoy working together. Randy, he's a tough nut to crack sometimes, but he's on board with this 100%, 110% actually, and you can see that he's having fun again, doing what he's doing, and it shows in his promos, it shows in the work he's doing with Matt Riddle, and it shows in the ring. And you talk about smooth. There's nobody smoother than Randy, and even Matt Riddle is getting elevated from this. Like you said, he's a star just waiting to happen.
Yes.
Yeah, I really liked RK Bro at the beginning, and then it's been hit or miss depending on the week. I thought this week, Jimmy, you were there with WWE when they did the Goldust Goldberg skit where Goldust put the wig on Goldberg, and it was the wrong character for Goldberg to do that with. But in this case, I thought it worked great. And I thought it was pretty hilarious, and the match itself, the match itself was really good. But these two teams have been involved in the same match or singles matches for like 5 of the last 8 weeks. So I'd like to see them mix it up. It made no sense for them to have it again when they had a tag match last time. RK Bro won. So. Outside of that, I thought it moved well. The match was good. And again, this first hour, it just kept moving fast.
Yeah. I love the Dirty Dogs as a team. I like both guys, but kind of like I said about Balor, doesn't feel like they're quite a threat at this point to really get a big win here. But just real quick, last week, I thought they were hilarious, RK Bro. And the whole, I'm already in your head, bro. Hearing voices in your head, bro. Loved it. Moving on, though, Rollins is backstage and he runs into Kevin Owens, who says that if he beats Big E, he gets added to the main event at day 1. Rollins doesn't believe him, goes to Pierce. Pierce says, I never said that, but it's not a bad idea, leading to a bit of stuff going on. We also have, and we'll talk about that, but also Edge and Miz have a promo, and I thought this was a great promo. I thought this
real quick. Let's get to the Owen stuff, because there's a lot with the Edge and Miz.
Okay, I just knew we were going to circle back to it at some point. So, but yeah, you're right. Let's talk about Rollins, Kevin Owens.
Yeah. See, again, this is the problem I have with this situation. I don't mind Kevin Owens working his way into that match at the pay-per-view at day 1 to make it a 3-way. I just have a problem, not in this situation, but whenever it happens where you have to beat the champion in order to get a shot at the a title shot at the champion. And yes, I get it. This isn't the first time it's happened. It's happened for a long time now. It happens in other companies as well. I don't like it there either. In what other, if you're portraying yourself as a combat sport, in what other combat sport do you have to beat a champion twice in order to become champion?
Right.
It's just like from a logic standpoint, it makes no sense to me to have to beat the champion in order to get a shot at the champion. That's the one thing that bothers me from a logic standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It should have been Owens versus Rollins. And then if Owens beats him, then he gets inserted into the title match. But what I did like about it was it did create stakes for the main event. It wasn't just a throwaway match. So in that sense, I liked it. Big E and Kevin Owens, again, when I talk about the repeat matches on Raw, they've had like 2 or 3. I think this was the third in just the last, 5 or 6 weeks. But it did give it stakes. And you kind of felt like Kevin Owens would end up getting inserted, but you also knew that Big E wasn't going to lose, or he shouldn't lose, because he just lost to Roman Reigns. So, there's always that DQ that helps him get out of it. But so on that end, I thought it worked good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. I liked the concept of it, like just in a vacuum. I like that Kevin Owens was being kind of sneaky in how he manufactured this into being a shot to get into the main event, and how he got Rollins to pitch it basically. And I thought it was well done in that case and gave us a story to follow throughout the show, which anyone who watches the show knows I love when they give us something we can follow throughout the show. But to the point you guys already made, one of the reasons Roman Reigns is amazing is because he never takes L's. When you have the champion take 2 in a row, even when there's some shenanigans involved, it's kind of okay, well, when he loses the title, it's not going to be that big of a deal. He loses all the time. So
there's a reason why Roman versus Brock feels like a big deal. It's because they're not losing all the time.
But let's talk about this promo. This promo, I loved this. Edge comes out, says he could have matches with anyone. Miz shows up. Miz is mad that he's not getting the Edge treatment. And then he talks about how great his wife is, which I thought was kind of nice. Miz blames the WWE Universe for not being a devoted fan base. I loved that. And then Edge talks about how great Miz is. They're going to fight, but not tonight. I thought this was just a pitch perfect promo. I love this. I think it showed really how good both these guys are. And that subtle power that Edge was so good at, where he basically talked trash about Miz by telling us how great the Miz is, which makes me like them both. Makes me want to see them both have a matchup. Raj, you said there's a lot to unpack here. Well, Merry Christmas. Have at it. Unpack it.
Well, first, Maurice is back.
Yes.
And you got Edge, you got Beth Phoenix. That kind of makes me think this will probably be headed to a mixed tag match. I mean, that was my guess when I first saw Maurice come out and they're interrupting Edge. Could be wrong, but I saw that there. Jack, you mentioned Edge kind of putting over Miz while insulting him, and he made last week you had MJF and CM Punk, and MJF told CM Punk told MJF he was a less famous Miz or something like that. And so Edge kind of took that line and kind of used it as a shot at AEW. He said you have people on other shows saying your name just to get a cheap reaction.
Yep.
So I liked how Edge did that. And he also said you live rent free in a lot of heads. So I like how Edge did all that. And it's rare you see WWE take a shot at AEW on their TV. And this was one of the few times. And, stuff like that's always kind of interesting. So I thought it was a good promo. I think there are people that are going to compare it to the Punk MJF promo, and you can't.
Right.
But for what it was, I thought it was really entertaining.
And for the record, I love it when companies take shots at each other. I love it. So I love that too. But Jimmy, how did you like this showdown?
Again, when Edge was starting his promo, I love Edge on the mic. He's awesome. And then when I wanted to see who his next challenger would be, when I heard Miz's music, at first I went, that's an interesting choice, because I thought it would be someone a little newer, to someone that a veteran and someone as good as Edge could elevate. But then as they started the promo, I went, okay, this is going to be some interesting stuff. Maybe they can talk people into seats, which is the whole idea behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about the shot at AEW with mentioning that, you know, they used your name as a cheap pop. It was subtle enough where you got the reference, but at the same time, it wasn't over the top. And the subject matter wasn't zing here, zing there, just for the sake of popping the audience. They brought a story behind it. Edge, like you said, Raj, was putting over Miz while insulting him, but at the same time talking about respect and earning respect and how much he had. It was all about respect.
Yeah.
Edge's promo, and he nailed that point home perfectly, I thought. And it went from at the beginning going, oh, I think I've seen these two guys before too. Oh, I want to see these guys.
Yeah. You know, I kind of the same thing. When Miz's music hit, I kind of groaned. I was like, you know, after what Edge has been in, I want to see him in something big, and you know, something involving a newer talent. And then once they got going, and I actually thought Austin Theory would have been a good one because he had the stuff with Ray. You know, he's kind of disrespecting the legends. So I thought that would have been kind of a good one, but you know, again, it's probably too soon.
Yeah.
So Miz coming out, it by the end of the segment, I really enjoyed it. I don't know, you know, Edge has got to win, so I'm not that intrigued by the match, but I think it'll be really entertaining heading into it.
Well, to that point, what's nice about Miz is if Miz loses, it doesn't hurt either. Like if it was Austin Theory, you'd say, oh, well, if Austin Theory takes an L now, he kind of loses momentum. But Miz is one of those guys. He can take a loss and he'll still look good for it. And I hope, because I've always felt that Miz has been underappreciated. Like he's working all the time. He's doing all this stuff. And I feel like we don't appreciate it. So we kind of groan when his music hits. I kind of hope that this is an opportunity for him to give us a more like legit Miz that can actually be taken a little bit more seriously and not be the clown he's been for a little bit. Because I think I would like to see him have a really strong run at some point before he's all said and done.
No, I totally agree. And as someone who watched him from the beginning, from day one, and again, off topic here, being there that day he was eating the chicken over when he got kicked out of the locker room. I was there that day, and again, not to pat myself on the back, helped keep someone from getting in trouble by, hey, calm down. This will get taken care of. Let the boys take care of this. You know what I mean? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And to see where he was then and where he is now, it's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm fired up for this. I'm excited to see where that one goes. That was probably my favorite part of the night was that promo. That is what I noticed. And I just want to touch on this real quick and see what you guys thought. Was it just me or did that arena look dark today? It felt, I get that they didn't want certain seats to be highlighted, but like it felt like even all the way down to the front row, it was very dark today. I don't know if that was intentional or just me or whatever, but I don't know.
Well, now that you brought it up, yeah, I guess it was a little darker than normal. Let's put it that way.
Well, they did have trouble selling out that arena. They didn't, you know, I think they had about 3,000 plus tickets left. You know, and I know AEW's in that same building. Is next week, and AEW has sold that arena better. So I know there's a lot of chatter online about how you know AEW has done better in that arena, which is amazing, you know, because it's New York, it's WWE, but at the same time, WWE is just overplaying New York. I mean, this is the third event there in the last 8 days. They were just there in September. They're doing another few shows at the end of September. I mean, at the end of December in New York. It's just overplaying that market. So, you know, there's a lot of fatigue to where you're not going to go to every show. And, you know, it's like AEW with Chicago. Like the pre-sale did not do that well for this latest one, even though, you know, it'll be CM Punk's only his third show there. So you go back to the same place too many times, and you know people are gonna stop going. And plus, AEW is also newer in that market, and they always tend to do well when they're new in a market.
Also, not for nothing, it's the Monday after Thanksgiving. I think a lot of people have been out and about for 4 days in a row now, and probably not looking to head out as well. Not to be an apologist for WWE, I think that is a fair addition to that. But in any case, someone who's not fair is having a massive giant like Omos on your team, and that's what AJ Styles has. but he can't see because he got sprayed in the face with a fire extinguisher. So they go to ringside to watch Alpha Academy and Street Profits have their match. AJ tries to get involved and fails. Montez hits his finisher, and it looks amazing. AJ is frustrated. I thought this was good because it told the story quickly. It didn't overstay its welcome. Street Profits are always entertaining, and so is AJ Styles. He cracks me up too. Raj, did you like the way this all played out?
I thought AJ was hilarious here. It does look like they're kind of breaking up Omos and AJ, kind of teasing some dissensions. So I feel like they've had some good chemistry, so I almost don't want to see it. But at the same time, I want to see AJ as a singles again because I think they could use him at the top. So, but I liked it. I thought AJ, not even though he wasn't in the match, I thought he was the star of the segment.
Yeah, the sunglasses and his hair.
It's funny because when he was in TNA, I would have never thought that he would have been, this entertaining.
Yeah. 100%. I was like, yeah, he's going to need a manager the rest of his life, but he could be a manager now. He cracks me up, but he's so stupid. I loved it. But Jimmy, how'd you feel about how the story this told with AJ getting involved and failing and him not being happy with Omos? And of course, it looks like them and the Street Profits on a collision course.
No, I do like it. And I like Raj said, I do like the idea of that seed being planted of Omos possibly parting ways with AJ Styles. And I agree also that AJ is showing a different side to his presentation where he's able to get you to play along and laugh along with his actual comedic timing was not bad. Let's put it that way. And yes, I do remember the days in TNA where we used to watch him and, you'd think, if he only had a little more personality. Now we're starting to see it.
Yeah. It's the hair. I think it's just like when you have that beautiful hair, you got to be funny.
He's been on a different level since he's had that hair and beard.
Who's not jealous of that hair? Come on, it's amazing. So we got a couple of quick promos backstage. We got Vince and Austin Theory backstage again, still talking. Vince telling him to be careful about surprises. Dana Brooke showing off that 24/7 title, and Rollins calls KO a liar, but KO maintains his story. This bit of the show felt just a little bit like just checking in on these people. Just a reminder, Dana Brooke's the champ. Just a reminder, KO and Rollins are still doing their thing. I don't know if there's anything to take away from these, but I do like that they gave us a little check-in, like on Dana Brooke, to remind us, just so you know, she's the champion. I like that we didn't have to have this big, long segment, just sort of a quick, remember this, and move on. Raj, how do you like it when they do these kind of quick check-in segments?
Yeah, again, I thought it moved along quick enough. But it didn't suck me in or anything. But it was fine. I'll admit, I thought the show had moved pretty fast until then, and then it was starting to. The length was starting to, when you're like, oh, we still got an hour and a half to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Any feedback on these bits before moving on, Jimmy?
No, just I found it interesting that Vince McMahon, although taking Austin Theory into his office, also seems to want to educate him at the same time, kind of mentoring him a little bit, which again goes to what I said earlier. It looks like he's seeing something in Austin Theory, and he's going to have an opportunity to shine. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, do you think they're going to keep this going for a while with Vince and Austin, or
I hope
it gets dropped pretty quick?
No, I hope it does, because you know what? I miss seeing. I may be one of the few, but I miss seeing Vince McMahon on television as Mr. McMahon. I've seen the different sides of Vince. I've seen Vince, having fun backstage. I've seen Vince when he's not so happy, and I've seen the Mr. McMahon character, which is a lot of fun to watch on television, and that's what when I see that, I enjoy it. I'm entertained by it. Maybe some people think that time has passed, but I think it can still work today.
I enjoy it too. I just hope that this doesn't end with Austin ending up lower. I know everyone's assuming because he's in these segments with Vince that he'll be elevated, but remember when Jericho was with Stephanie, that did not elevate him. And if they're humiliated week in, week out and made to look inferior, at some point it does more harm than good. So
that's true. But as much as I love Steph, she's not Vince. Vince McMahon is Vince McMahon.
Vince is I've never met the guy, but just as a guy on TV, he is a different level. I will say, and again, just as a guy who's seen on TV, I always say it feels a little bit like when it comes to the embarrassing things, it feels a little bit like sometimes they like to embarrass guys to see if they can bounce back from it or if they can take it and like still make it work as opposed to wilting under it. But I don't know.
Like a test, basically, to see, are you going to do the boo-boo face?
Yeah.
Or are you going to do this and put your whole heart into it, kind of thing?
Right.
Trevor Snook pointing out this is the new era McMahon Austin angle, which technically it is.
Maybe we can get Chad Gable on a ukulele to sing Jimmy Crack Corn.
That would be funny. That'd be a fun callback. I wonder how many people watching today would get it, but I would love that. So we get Damian Priest and Apollo Crews in a match. Crews, talented, good match. Commander Aziz gets ejected after getting involved. Priest snaps, chokeslams Crews into the ring. I thought that was great. Hits the Reckoning, gets the pin, retains. This kind of where Apollo Crews was when he was on SmackDown here, losing to the Intercontinental Champion there, now the U.S. Champion. But I think he's great at giving guys these legitimate looking wins, and Damian Priest seems to be on a roll. Are you a fan, Jimmy, of either of these guys?
No, I am, and I like the fact that they're giving Priest strong wins as opposed to these. He just happened to roll him up. Like, he's a big dude. Mm-hmm. He should be getting good dominant wins, but at the same time, he's a babyface, so he has to be in peril, and he's doing it in a believable way with believable opponents like an Apollo Crews and so forth. So right now, so far, I think it's working, but he needs someone that people perceive to be a real threat to him to get to that next level.
Yeah, I felt it seemed a little soon to get to this match because it was like a month ago. Remember where Apollo Crews came out and they had the stare down, and then you don't hear it from either of them, or you don't see Apollo Crews or Damian Priest in the same place for like a month after that, and then they go right to the match and Damian Priest gets a big win. Now, knowing how WWE has been booking lately, this probably means they're still going to do this match over and over for the next month. Yeah. But I just think I'd like to see Damian Priest. I would have liked to see Damian Priest beat somebody else and then face Apollo Crews at the pay-per-view, get the win there. But again, one thing too, I didn't watch Raw last week. I never got a chance to watch it back. I wonder if Damian Priest's attack on Nakamura, and now they're keeping him as a babyface. I wonder if that hurt him, because the crowd did not seem into Damian Priest tonight. And it could be the crowd wasn't that loud for most of the night. Maybe that was it. This could just be one of those, or I don't know if the post-match attacks or him losing it week in, week out is necessarily working for him as a babyface.
That might be a point. I think with him, what's hurt him too is he's been a little inconsistent as far as being on TV the past few weeks or a month. And I don't know what it was. Yeah. A couple months. Yeah. It seems like he's there and then he disappears for a few weeks and he's back. And I don't know if there's a reason for that, but I think that kind of hurts him too. Because it's weird. It's happened at a weird time where he's had a character shift with the whole, like, he snaps now. Mm-hmm. And right as that happened, he started being inconsistent. And so I think there's a lot of like, how am I supposed to feel about this guy? What's his thing? I think he's a superstar. Oh, Michael Levirus says it in the chat. The crowd is confused by his bipolar face heel switch in matches.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, again, we'll know in a couple of weeks, but it kind of felt like that to me. Like the crowd doesn't know what to make of him right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wonder if it's because I feel like he needs like a heated rival, like a real rivalry, not just we need a matchup that he has a bunch of times like Apollo Crews, but like something where it gets kind of personal and it's like really heated, not just for the title, but now it's like, like more vicious.
Yeah, there needs to be a story behind it. And like I said, I hate to repeat myself, someone who looks like a real threat to his title reign.
You know who would have been good for that? Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Maybe that's coming down the pipe. We'll see.
Kevin Owens' contract does expire on January 31st.
So speaking of Kevin Owens, we now find out that it will be if Kevin Owens beats Big E, he is in the match. It's now official. We get that word just as the Mysterios go out to face the Hurt Business. They get a pretty straightforward win. Raj, is the Hurt Business and Bobby Lashley connected, or are they now separate?
I don't think they've mentioned it since that first week, right? That they got back together. Since then, they haven't been shown together or even mentioned. So Bobby Lashley, I feel like he's in creative limbo right now. I feel like they don't know what to do with him right now. And then as that was evident later when they did the promo. But
yeah, we'll definitely. I have a thought on that too. But Mysterios, a lot of people were saying that they were going to break up, but it seems like they're working just fine today. Jimmy, do you predict a breakup between these two? Would you like to see a breakup, or do you like seeing the father-son tag team?
I like the father-son tag team for now, but again, somewhere down the road, I almost feel like I don't want to say it has to happen, but I could see it happening because how many people can identify with having issues with their father, like sons with their father, and whether it's the father trying to take control of their career, like let's say, for example, the story could be where Ray's trying to help guide Dominic, and Dominic takes it as, hey, you're trying to control my life. Let me do my thing. I want to, but I want to help guide you in the right direction. I've been doing this for 30 years, whatever the case may be. And, and you get that conflict that way. But again, to your question, I could see it happening down the road. Again, I don't want it rushed. Take your time, tell that story.
Yeah, and I think that match has to happen at WrestleMania.
Yes.
And that's not until April. So you break them up now, they'll rush it. They'll do that match at day one. Yeah. So you don't want to do the breakup until, February, March. And, because now they rush things so much. Like, remember Owen and Brett, they did that in January, and they were able to hold that off until WrestleMania. And then Owen gets the big win, because Owen was kind of an underneath guy before that. Got the big win, had the heel turn, got the big win, and then he was just a superstar forever after that.
What if to teach Dominic a tough lesson in wrestling life, Ray were to eliminate him at the Rumble?
Ooh.
I would like to see that happen.
I just can't see fans ever booing Ray. I think they'd still cheer him over Dominic.
Yeah, probably.
It would be interesting to see how far Ray could go before people boo him. Like, just blatantly cheating, and everyone's
Ray
like,
realistically has never been a heel. I mean, he had a brief stint in the Filthy Animals in WCW back when people were turning heel and babyface every other week. But he's never been a heel. So I would assume Dominic goes heel, maybe gets a sinister mask or something. But Ray going heel would be a twist.
Speaking
or even reverse that, have Dominic eliminate Ray when Ray's not expecting it.
Yeah.
I have a question, and Raj, you're like a historian, so maybe you'll know. Cedric Alexander mocked Eddie Guerrero during the match. He did a little Eddie dance mockingly. Has anyone mocked Eddie Guerrero with the dance and won their match? I feel like that's like a kiss of death in a match. If you do that, like you're not winning.
In AEW, the FTR mocked Eddie, and the Lucha Brothers won.
Well, no, yeah. If they mocked him and the Lucha Brothers, if you mock Eddie, you lose. Is what.
Oh, you're saying have they mocked Eddie and won?
Yeah, I don't think they've ever. I think anyone who's ever mocked Eddie has lost. I feel
I think there have been Austin Theory mocked Eddie, and remember, I think against Ray and Dominic, and he beat them both.
Oh, in that case, yeah, you're right. See, I told you, you're the historian.
There you go.
I don't know. So that's why Austin Theory is the man, is he was able to get a win even though he mocked Eddie. That's big. That's big time.
That's huge.
It seems like wrestlers have been doing that a lot lately, using the Eddie.
I wonder if it's because people who were kids who grew up watching him are now old enough to be wrestlers, and now it's like more their thing. I don't know.
Because it gets a huge pop when the baby faces do it.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. So we get a Team Liv versus Team Becky, and I don't want to be that guy, but I gotta say it. Why wasn't this Survivor Series matchup?
Because it's brand versus brand. You got to see which brand is better.
Like we just had a show with the whole premise being you get these matchups. What? This feels so silly to me, but It is what it is. We get a 5-on-5 matchup. Lots of fun matchups throughout this whole thing. But the story is Liv gets the win, and then Liv hits Becky with Oblivion. And Jimmy, she's already got more offense in on Becky than Bianca Belair did during their rivalry.
Yeah, pretty much. So, again, like you guys said, this would have been a perfect Survivor Series match. And to have the elimination style match, this was a one fall match and so forth. But it, again, designed to get Liv over as the next challenger to Becky. Do I see Liv being the one to defeat Becky for the title? Not at this time. I was okay with it. It didn't wow me. That's for sure.
Yeah, again, I think having no stakes also, like instead of doing the contract signing, announcing Becky versus Liv, why not have it where if Liv's team wins, then Liv gets a title shot, or if Becky's team wins, then she gets to name her next opponent, something like that, to where there's a reason for this match. When you have a 10-woman match with no stakes at all, it's just, just a way to get a bunch of people on the show. And I just wish that there was something more to it, storyline wise.
Yeah, to your guys' point, it's a good kind of middle of the show, like just lots of stuff happening. But yeah, I feel like they could have, if they were going to do this, they could have done more with it. Like I said, it could have been a Survivor Series. Even I think it would have been fun if you had them backstage, like Rhea Ripley going, I don't want to be your partner. Why am I on your team? Why'd you put me on here? I didn't sign up for this or whatever. I don't know. But it is what it is. And like I said, Liv Morgan now kind of one up on Becky, which I'm a huge Bianca Belair fan. So I'm Jimmy, just, I'm bitter. I wanted Bianca Belair to do better. But Mike D in the chat says Doink the Clown equals Matt Bourne 2022 Hall of Fame.
Oh my goodness.
In the chat.
It would have to be the Matt Bourne version. I don't know how you specify it, but
yeah.
No,
I agree. There have been a few different Doinks, but Matt Bourne is if he's going in the Hall of Fame, that's the one.
Yeah.
I was actually kind of surprised that a Doink the Clown wasn't in. I could have swore Doink was in.
That's a difficult one because there have been so many of that character. So do you have the character go in the Hall of Fame, or do you have Matt Bourne go in the Hall of Fame? And Matt Bourne, he did wrestle before he was Doink in WWF, but not Hall of Fame career as himself.
Yeah.
In WWF.
That does get tricky when you have that situation. Huh. We will see. In the chat, Brian Outen asks, hey guys, where is Nia J? I'm assuming Nia Jax. She is no longer with the WWE. She was released. And we talked about her at the top of the show. Sounds like she says she's done. Not likely she's coming back. So best of luck to her.
And real quick, back to the Doink thing. That was one problem I had with Scott Hall going in as Razor Ramon. Because you had two Razor Ramones. At least Diesel, he went in as Kevin Nash.
Justice for the other Razor Ramon. I wonder if he's like, yeah, I'm a Hall of Famer, Razor Ramon.
I think he passed Rick Wagner.
Oh, yes. Did he? Oh,
yeah. I think you're right. Yeah.
Well, we get another Austin Theory, Vince McMahon backstage segment. We get another Veer promo, and at this point, I think they're going to need to update his photos because it's been so long. He probably doesn't look like that anymore.
Man, I wonder if they know what to do with him. Remember Elias? They had all those promos for him for like 6 weeks of him burning stuff in a fire, and he's just been MIA.
Yeah. I wonder if they're saving him as a surprise Royal Rumble guy.
Veer or Elias?
Elias, yeah.
I honestly believe they have no idea what to do with him.
Well, that's probably the truth, but I'm trying to make it sound more fun.
I know, but when you start thinking back to the last few years and the surprises that have been with, like, for example, Edge, we mentioned Edge, what a surprise that was. Christian this past year, and then 2 months later ending up in AEW, but still a huge surprise at the Royal Rumble. You think of an Elias showing up at the Rumble, that's not a surprise that wows me. Sorry, Elias, but you don't. It's not on that level.
I mean, if they came up with some crazy cool character and he comes out as that in the Rumble, maybe. But I don't see that happening. I think they dug themselves in a corner by him saying Elias is dead. But then again, they drop stuff all the time. They could just bring him back as Elias.
There you go.
Yeah. So the Bobby Lashley promo airs, and I wanted to talk about this because they talk about him being a wrestler. They talk about him going to the military. It feels a little bit like they're making him a sympathetic character again, and he's not going to be the mean old almighty anymore. Raj, do you think that we're going to see a change of heart for Bobby Lashley?
Well, when you think about it on the babyface side, you got Big E, on the top. Edge is part-time. He's here and there, and it's not much else, after that. So it's probably a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of ran through everyone as the big bad guy when he was the world champ. So maybe it's time to make the move. Jimmy, do you think that'd be a successful move for him, becoming a good guy?
I think it would be, because like you said, there's a little bit of a dip on the babyface side right now. And if he stays a heel, then all logic dictates that he should be going after Big E. So why is he not going after Big E? He wants that title back. He should be in the picture. He's that much of a huge figure. So if you want Seth to be the dominant challenger to Big E right now and put KO in the mix as well, it only makes sense to maybe have Lashley, go to the other side.
Right.
See
out
the
of his
light,
way.
so to speak.
Right.
Yeah. And I guess, because you think Kevin Owens is obviously, it seems like there's a lot of people for him to face that way. But Big E says he doesn't fear anybody to Kevin Patrick. And then Austin Theory gets slapped in the face by Vince McMahon. Just a few quick promos before we get to the main event. So
Vince? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jack.
I was going to say Vince walloped him too. He hit him pretty good.
He thinks he's Antonio Inoki now with those slaps. He laid it in there.
Yeah.
So this is where it could go one of two ways, because like you guys said, this could become a Austin Theory just gets embarrassed and gets made to look stupid by Vince McMahon over and over and over again. What I would love to see, and maybe I'm just overthinking it, is one of these days Austin Theory surprises Vince McMahon and hits him with one of his own. But I'm probably overreaching there. Jimmy, how did you like seeing Austin Theory get slapped in the face?
It was very interesting. I didn't expect it, but seeing it, and like you said, Vince laid it in there. But I will say this about Vince: if it comes time for a receipt, he's not one to shy away from taking one as well. He's a tough son of a gun. As a guy who tore both quads and refused help to get to the back afterwards. Right. That speaks a lot to the toughness of Vince McMahon. And I think somewhere down the road, believe it or not, I got a funny feeling that receipt is coming from Austin Theory.
I hope so. Because I had tweeted earlier tonight that, back in the day when they want to create a new star, they'd have the night end with Austin Theory kicking the crap out of Vince. Mm-hmm. Then later when I was thinking about it, I was like, it's probably too soon to do that. Mm-hmm. But my only concern is that it ends up getting dropped, which so many things do. And then Austin never got his receipt back, or he just ends up getting, emasculated over and over again where it does him no good. So we'll see.
Well, like you said, the fantasy booking that sometimes we like to do, somewhere down the road, you'd like to see it happen. And that could actually make Austin Theory.
Yeah. Maybe I'm probably looking too far into it. Probably fantasy booking in my own head too much, but they kept talking about surprises. I'm thinking Money in the Bank. That's the king of surprise moves to be the Money in the Bank winner. You can surprise people. You cash it in. You become a champion. I don't know. That's like 6 months away. It's probably not going to happen.
Yeah. They have no idea what they're doing on Money in the Bank.
Let's get through Dallas, 2 nights in Dallas first.
Right. Exactly.
Let's get to day one.
I think they legitimately don't know what they're doing at day one.
Exactly.
Well, we get to the main event. Kevin Owens and Big E with Rollins on commentary. This was a fun one. Rollins cheering on KO. Rollins again. I'm loving. Rollins is one of my favorite things going right now. He's just he's just nuts, and I love him for it. I get what they did here with KO attacking Rollins, so Rollins attacks him and he gets the DQ win. Feels like there's probably an easy. They were probably I don't know if it was executed my favorite way, if I'm nitpicking that, but don't really like that Big E took an L 2 times in a row now. I feel like I like the idea of this, but for some reason it leaves a bad taste in my mouth, Raj.
Yeah, and again, they shouldn't have done this, but you would think if Kevin Owens has Big E beat, he'd just beat him instead of wasting time running outside the ring, hoping that Rollins will come back in and attack him. I think the way they're treating Big E, like his first pay-per-view as champion, he was in an unannounced tag match, right? Him and the New Day. They're just making him look less than, and
because they lost that tag match too, didn't they?
No, they won. Big E pinned Lashley to win that.
Okay, but, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah,
but still, he's not. You kind of see when they're not going all the way with someone as champ, and you're kind of seeing that with Big E.
Yeah, when you see him lose too many times, like he has, or get beat up after matches or things, you just start to think him getting beaten doesn't seem that shocking. Like, so if he lost at day 1, I wouldn't be that surprised. He's lost twice in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I understand the thought of gaining sympathy on Big E and wanting people to get behind him in that sense. But at the same time, it's Big E. He should be dominant. And I didn't have a big problem with his loss to Roman Reigns at Survivor Series because he presented well. He showed he was dominant in that match. He did lose in the end, and Roman had to hit him with a couple of spears as opposed to, just hitting him with his finish, so to speak. So, again, that old theory, he got over without going over in that match. I thought the next night on Raw was kind of a step back for him because I thought that's when he should have been dominant, very dominant. Mm-hmm. And it almost felt like he needed distraction from Seth and KO to get that win over Austin Theory, so to speak. And then again, this past Raw that we saw tonight, again, it should have been more of a dominant Big E, for lack of a better term. And it's not that I have an issue with the DQ finish. Again, like you said, Jack, it's the way it went down. It was like, just let him go out and attack and sucker Seth into attacking him, but he didn't do it very creatively. It wasn't sneaky.
Yeah. It kind of felt like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to attack Seth Rollins right now.
Yeah.
And at least he didn't get pinned. DQ losses aren't really losses in WWE, but I don't know. I just think you just see how someone's positioned, and I hope that changes because I think they need more stars, and Big E can be that one.
Yeah, and as mentioned, he lost to Roman Reigns. He
should have won. He should have lost that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't hold that one against him. Roman Reigns is a different animal. That's
Roman Reigns' first pinfall loss. Needs to be huge.
Yeah, that I totally get. It's just I think Jimmy, you hit the nail on the head. I think after that loss, Big E should have went on a tear and just be destroying people in matches, and kind of like what they did with Lashley for a little bit, where he was just crushing people to get that steam back going again. I think they even did that with Drew McIntyre after he lost to Roman Reigns, where he had him just like beating the brakes off people for a little bit to remind us that he's unstoppable. Where this kind of felt like, oh, I mean, you technically lost, but I don't know. Again, I get it. I'm not mad at the idea. I just feel like something about it didn't go properly for me. I think it's kind of a bad taste in my mouth. Kind of maybe a little overcooked.
Yes.
But that gets us through the show. Any closing remarks on a scale of 1 to 10? Where would you guys put this one?
Ooh, if I had to grade it, you know what? I thought at least for the most part, it was a solid show.
Yeah.
You could again, the women's 5-on-5 kind of took me out a little bit, but at the same time, they brought me back in. So I'd give it a solid 7. I would.
Yeah. I think I'm actually about where you're at. I think I'm at about 7 for it. You're right. There were times when I kind of got out of it, but I mean, it's a 3-hour show. Like, let's be honest. I mean,
to me, it didn't feel as long as a lot of the recent episodes. It moved faster, especially the first hour. Yeah. Through the Edge and Miz segment, I thought it was a really strong show. And then the second half of the show kind of was a little kind of slowed things down. But overall, it was still, I thought it was one of the better episodes they've done lately.
Yeah. And I always say, because people will probably say 7, that's such a high number. I say, if I looked at the past 10 Raws, I bet this was better than at least 7 of them. So that's why I say,
oh, well, then I give it a 10. It's right back in last 10.
Can someone clip out Raj saying he gives Raw a 10?
Just that part.
I'm walking out on that slim just yet.
That's too funny. Well, I think that does it for us. Thank you again to everyone in the chat: Joseph, Michael, Brian, Oz, JP, Review King, MB, Trevor Snook, Edward Cousins, all you guys. Thank you so much. Make sure to check out the NXT 2.0 after show tomorrow on Tuesday. Make sure to check out the AEW Dynamite after show on Wednesday and that SmackDown Rampage doubleheader on Friday. But also, make sure to stay tuned into Wrestling Inc. or at Wrestling Inc. on social media. All the news is there. You can keep up with all the stuff going on all over the world of wrestling. And don't we always know there's always news happening? So that's the best place to be.
And also, we're going to have an NXT War Games podcast on Sunday. So it's a busy week.
War Games.
So if you forgot, it's Sunday.
It's Sunday. So check out the War Games.
You got to check out Jimmy on Twitter. Jimmy, tell people how they can follow you and about the reference.
Yes. You can follow my daily reference. It's weekdays. And here's a cup my wife had made for me. And I have Referent t-shirts at ProWrestlingTees.com. Cheap plug. I got to throw it out there. And yes, I do it on weekdays from Monday to Friday. Again, meant to be little critiques and things I'd like to see, changed or altered and done a little better to my liking. So you can get me at Twitter, at Jimmy Korderas, Instagram, at Real Jimmy Korderas. I'm also on Facebook and just like to have a lot of fun. You can also hit me up on Cameo. If you need an issue resolved, I can resolve it for you. I'll even put on a ref shirt for you.
Oh, that's got to be fun. Yeah, definitely check out Jimmy on Cameo then. If you can get a ref to decide your argument, if you have a roommate and they're not doing the dishes, take them to task and have Jimmy count them out on Cameo.
There you go.
But you can also check out Raj on social media at Raj Giri _303. I'm looking in really close to see how this.
You should know it by now.
Oh, I don't follow you. No.
You blocked me.
No. You can find me at Real Jack Farmer across all social media as well. Thanks again, guys. This was fun. We should do it again sometime. How about next week? or tomorrow for the NXT after show.
Yeah. Just let me know.
We'll definitely have Jimmy on a lot more. Loved having you on, Jimmy.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, thank you, Jimmy. It was great having you on. Raj, always good chatting with you. And again, everyone in the chat, thanks for being here. And tune in tomorrow for the NXT after show.